This man once conquered nearly all of Europe. But in the end, the man who ruined his plans had already died. This is Napoleon, the most powerful ruler in Europe. From Spain to Poland, from the Netherlands to Italy, almost the entire continent under his control. Then in 1803, he sold a piece of land nearly a quarter, the size of modern America, for just $15 million. In a hurry, almost desperately. It all started with a man born into slavery. His name was Toussaint Louverture. The day Napoleon captured Toussaint was the day he lost France's American empire. In 1743, Toussaint Louverture was born into slavery on the island of Saint-Domingue, a French colony now known as Haiti. His father was the son of an African chief who had been captured and sold to the Caribbean. Every single day he told his son one thing: "You are not a slave forever, you are a free man." While most enslaved people couldn't read, Toussaint learned. He taught himself to write. He read everything he could get his hands on, especially the French Enlightenment philosophers who wrote about liberty, equality, and the rights of man. He read about freedom while living in chains. In 1791, when the Haitian Revolution erupted, Toussaint was 48 years old. He joined as an ordinary soldier. But Toussaint was different. While most of the uprising ran on rage, Toussaint ran on strategy. He organized units, trained soldiers, and planned campaigns with precision. The results spoke for themselves. 7 battles won in 7 days. Defeated the British, defeated the Spanish. Within a few years, a former slave had forced 3 of the world's most powerful empires to change their plans. He rose to leadership not because anyone appointed him, but because nobody did it better. By 1801, the man who had been born into bondage was now the governor for life of Saint-Domingue, signing trade agreements with Britain and the United States, commanding a professional army, running a real country. Napoleon was 32 years old. He looked at all of this and coldly said, "Rid me of these gilded Africans." In 1802, Napoleon sent 30,000 of his best soldiers to Haiti. The mission was simple: crush Toussaint, restore slavery, and reclaim France's richest colony. On paper, this was no contest. On one side, I was soldiers who had fought across Europe, armed with modern weapons, battle-hardened. On the other, a small island of formerly enslaved people. But Haiti had allies that Napoleon couldn't prepare for: dense jungle, mountain terrain, and yellow fever. The French army marched in and started dying, not just from fighting. Yellow fever swept through their camps, killing thousands every month. General Leclerc, Napoleon's own brother-in-law and the commander of the entire expedition, died of the disease. Month after month, the French gained almost no ground. Toussaint didn't fight head-on. He pulled back into the mountains, launched ambushes, then disappeared, letting the climate and disease do the rest. Napoleon had conquered Europe. Haiti was a different war entirely, and that's when Napoleon decided to use something more dangerous than cannons: a peace offer. Napoleon sent Toussaint a message: "Enough of this war, come negotiate. Your safety is guaranteed, on the honor of an emperor." Toussaint suspected a trap, but if there was any chance to end the war without more people dying, he felt he had a responsibility to try. He showed up, and the moment he walked into the meeting, he was arrested. No trial, no explanation. Handcuffed, put on a ship, transported to France. Napoleon ordered him imprisoned in Fort de Joux, a fortress in the Alps at over 4,000 feet elevation, cold year-round, perpetually damp. No sunlight, food barely enough to survive on, not one family member allowed a final visit, not one soldier standing by his side. The man who had governed an entire country sat alone in the dark, and wrote a letter to Napoleon. "In overthrowing me, you have done no more than cut down the trunk of the tree of black liberty in Saint-Domingue. It will spring back from the roots, for they are numerous and deep." Napoleon never replied. On April 7, 1803, Toussaint Louverture died in prison. From cold, from starvation, from being left to die alone. He never knew what happened next. News of Toussaint's death reached Haiti. Napoleon believed the war was over. It had barely started. The soldiers who had fought under Toussaint, Dessalines, Henri Christophe, and tens of thousands of others, looked at what had been done to their leader and made a decision. There was nothing left to lose. Fight to the end. The French army was already broken. More than 2/3 of the original 30,000 soldiers were dead. From disease, from battle, from a war they never should have started. On November 18, 1803, Dessalines crushed the remaining French forces at the Battle of Vertières. December, the French withdrew from Haiti. January 1, 1804. Haiti declared independence. The first independent black republic in the modern world. Napoleon had lost Saint-Domingue, the colony that had produced roughly half the world's sugar and coffee supply. Louisiana supplied food, timber, and other resources to Saint-Domingue. Without Saint-Domingue, the territory lost much of its strategic value. 6 months after Haitian independence, Napoleon sold the entire Louisiana Territory to the United States for $15 million. Today, that territory includes all or part of 15 U.S. states. A man born into slavery died alone in a cold prison on top of a mountain, and the consequences of his death reshaped the map of America. Napoleon lived 18 years after Toussaint died. He kept fighting. He lost in Russia. He lost at Waterloo. He was exiled to the island of St. Helena in the middle of the Atlantic Ocean. He died in 1821, alone. Toussaint died 18 years before him in a cold, dark prison cell, also alone. But history doesn't care who dies first. It only cares what you leave behind. Napoleon thought that if he captured one man, the entire revolution would collapse. He was right, but only half right. The man he captured was just Toussaint. The thing he could never capture was the idea of freedom. Some people die in the dark and still change the world.